If you've paid attention to Rocket League over the last few years, I'm sure you've heard people say that the game is dying or already dead. I'm pretty sure you've also seen more than one thumbnail on YouTube that looks exactly like this. But if you actually play the game, it's alive and well. Sure, the player counts are nowhere near what they used to be, but there's no shortage of people to play, and the decline isn't happening very quickly, meaning the future isn't all doom and gloom, but it's undeniable. The game is losing a large amount of its fan base. So why do I keep going back and forth on this game? When I first came up with the idea for this video, I claimed that the game will never die, but upon researching it, I realized that I was wrong. I switched sides, but now I look at it as a bit of both. I think that the game will one day reach a point where no one cares anymore and only a few thousand people will play at a given time, but I also think that there will always be some people who still play frequently. Rocket League to me is one of the only games I've ever seen that is somehow both dead and alive. So how did Rocket League reach the point where video essays about the game's supposed downfall are being made? The answer is pretty simple. Epic Games made some awful decisions that pissed off huge parts of the fan base. It started when they removed trading solely to, and I quote, align with Epic's overall approach to game cosmetics, end quote. And another quote here, open up future plans for some Rocket League vehicles to come to other Epic games over time, end quote. What did this translate to? A brand new racing game with Rocket League assets in Fortnite, maintaining a player base and season for year to come. And yes, season is singular. They gave up after one season. That game is also usually outmatched in player count by user-made garbage. You can also customize the cars you use in Battle Royale, because driving a Rocket League car in a game that has nothing to do with Rocket League really makes me want to play the game. Oh yeah, this makes me want to play Rocket League. If there's better marketing out there, I don't know what it is. This decision not only made the trading community mad, but casuals and just Rocket League players in general. This was clearly done to cash in on Fortnite's empire and make players pay for what they want, rather than trade something they have but don't care about for something they do care about. As a result, Epic Games can now control all aspects of the game's economy. As for the competitive side, there's all sorts of financial issues with teams and players not getting paid much, and a lot of the professional teams even quit altogether. I personally don't care about competitive gaming, so I'm not going to talk about these issues much, but all you need to know is that Rocket League esports are in pretty awful shape. As for a more upfront issue, the higher-ups at Epic largely ignored Rocket League, as Fortnite makes so much money that spending time on anything else, even if it's a successful game in its own right, is worthless. Because of decisions like the ones mentioned in this video, it alienated large amounts of both the casual and competitive communities, leading to a player base that, while not noticeably declining, has remained stagnant at best. With all that in mind, Rocket League sounds pretty dead. But the title of this video is Rocket League Simultaneously Dead and Alive, not Rocket League Dead. So how come this game hasn't died despite poor decision making? The answer is pretty simple. Structurally solid gameplay. Given the fact that the game's sole premise is soccer with cars, it's nearly impossible for Epic Games or Psyonix to screw it up. There aren't any notable bugs, the gameplay is fair and consistent, and it makes total sense as a competitive game as well. The only way they could possibly ruin the game is if they decided to remove boost or something like that, but they're not dumb enough to mess with the core gameplay since that's carried them ever since 2015. Now, Epic Games didn't buy out Psyonix until 2019, but the point still stands. So even if the developers do nothing, the gameplay is already established, and thousands of players are already hooked. And let me tell you, people don't quit online games very easily once they're into them. Additionally, if you're bored of soccer, don't worry, because the game consistently cycles through other modes that vary greatly in terms of how soccer they are. Are you guys ready to watch soccer? Here we go. This is supposedly a soccer game, by the way. Damn! Dude, the NPCs are not playing around. This is peak. Oh. Yes! I did it! This is supposedly a video game about soccer, by the way. I just want to reiterate this. Rocket League is a soccer game. You can also change all sorts of mechanics, either in custom tournaments or in offline or local games. Ah! Let's go. That's actually a trick you can do in the game. Like, the better you are, the harder you can hit the ball. Rocket League's gameplay is perfect for what it is. There's decent variety through game modes, and the only issue is getting bored of the repetitive gameplay, which, in fairness, every online multiplayer game suffers from. And also, repetitive, tired gameplay does not stop most people. It didn't stop me from getting over 600 hours. It's because of this that the player count hasn't dropped off too dramatically, and keep in mind the numbers on the screen are only Steam players. This doesn't even account for console players or Epic Games players. I should also mention that the game is owned by Epic Games, so as long as Fortnite keeps the lights on, Rocket League is fine, even if Epic barely cares about the game's existence. Again, barring a generational fumble by Psyonix and Epic Games, Rocket League's death is a lot further away than some of these video essays may make you think. So is Rocket League dying or already dead? No, it's not even close. However, the game has lost a large amount of people, and the player base is stagnant. The game isn't growing at all. I'd dare say that Rocket League is past its prime. It's washed. But because of how structurally solid the gameplay is, it truly is one of the only cases of being both dead and alive.